back with part 2 of the episode where we are covering all the things market in the mountains. It is Kendall and Jess here with the Workhorse Podcast. Let's dive in. Jess, we left off with you not even knowing if this year you were going to do another market in the mountains.
I did not know until December if there was going to be another one. Does December sound right to you?
Yeah, it does.
I think it was December.
How did that? I mean, you're going to have to give a little bit because we just finished talking all
I
about
know.
all these great successes, the huge turnout, the vendor success, new events that were happening at the market. I mean, I know we talked a little bit about some of the things, but
It's like it
how
wasn't
do you
all
all of a
sunshine and
sudden, how do
lollipops.
you all of a sudden have billboards and grants and
hmm
6,000 people and new things and all of this success that's coming along with it and then decide you may actually not even do another one?
I don't think it was my decision, which probably sounds weird. If you haven't caught it in season 1, there's some episodes where we both kind of shared what our setups are like how family stuff sort of works for each of us. And I shared that we operate market, the Geodome, weddings, and the hosted hunts on property that is not ours. It's my parents' land. And that creates a lot of complications because it's not just elderly parents letting me do what it is I want to do. It's also with a sibling. And that sibling, he does all of the traditional agriculture and has, which feels important to mention. You know, I was in high school. We're pretty close in, I think we were two years apart in grades. And both involved in 4-H and showing animals and FFA and sports and all the stuff. And we were told go to college, get your degree. So we did, kind of went our own ways. And I really never thought I would go back. Whereas he came back every year or never really left. I don't know, whichever way you want to look at that. But he kind of started farming right out of high school, which he was already doing some of it in high school. And then just kept taking over, doing all the traditional ag. So the cows on the place are his, and all of the hay operations are his. And there's a mix of hay. I don't know why people are fascinated. Like other farmers always want to know, like, what type of hay is it? And I'm like, I don't know. Alfalfa is the only thing I can tell you different than. I can't tell you if it's triticale. Can't tell you if it's a oat pea hay mix. Like I got nothing. But there's hay. And so when we finally came back to the ranch, I had been gone for 10, 10 years. And obviously, in that time, you know, he never left. He didn't go get his own place. He didn't, um, kind of didn't pursue anything outside of the ranch. That was very much what he was doing full time. That was his job, no outside employment. And I struggled with why I always felt like I never had a place, had the opportunity, had the but part of it's on me. I didn't want to. When I graduated from high school, I didn't want to be on the farm. I didn't think there was a future in it. I There was no cute guys around. I mean, that really like I want to go somewhere. I want to meet someone. Not not from my tiny
Springdale
town.
just wasn't doing it for you in high school. Because I was gonna say, I mean,
Oh.
I was gonna say when you moved away and went into law enforcement and all that comes along with that, it would be hard to
Mhm.
figure out how to get back into the ranching.
I don't I don't think it was ever trying to get back into the ranching when we first came back, because still was in law enforcement. Our intention was to be cops through retirement. And I think maybe it was having kids, or just realizing how much I missed that lifestyle. We lived in a townhouse in Montana. Like we weren't out on land. I missed that. I missed having animals. I missed the lifestyle. And so when we came back, it was very clear what was his realm, and then whatever I wanted to do needed to be around whatever he did. Like,
Yeah.
I could
Like
do
you
it.
could fit into the, like, edges, the fray around the
Mhm.
outside.
It's so funny because it literally is, like, the edge
It
pieces
is.
around that aren't super productive farm ground, and that's what it was like, "Oh, you're gonna try this little business. You can have this little field that won't have much impact on anything, and you can kinda just stay out of the way," and so I did that, and it still wasn't perfect, it wasn't great. Ugh, things have just continued to get worse in the sibling relationship, and
And I
then
don't and I wanna say, like, I wanna interrupt for a sec because I
mhm,
don't think that that's uncommon. I think that there's gonna be a lot of people listening to this episode and nodding along if they're in a multi-generational farm family. It
mm,
was something that, women would end up in tears telling their story at retreats when it came to how hard the multi-generational stuff is, and we'll link to that episode that just touches on this from season 1, as well as another episode that we kinda deal a little bit with that multi-generational piece because it is something that is so relatable. It doesn't matter what kind of agriculture you're in or what the dynamic is on the family. Oftentimes, a woman is, standing up and saying when you share your story, Jess, oftentimes there's another woman in the room that's saying, like, I know what that feels like, or I have a similar situation on our ranch.
yeah, it well, I shouldn't even say usually because I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking of women who it is their sibling. I think I really wish for a different relation I wish for a brother that, protected me, I wish for a brother that you hear about, like, the cool uncles that do anything for their nephews, that, they're taking them fishing and we don't have that at all. In fact, we're not even speaking right now at the time that we're recording this. Maybe we're no, we're really not speaking as I like maybe we've said 2 words to each other, maybe, I don't know. Um, and so I fit in and around as long as I stayed small. I fit in and around, I could do what I wanted to as long as I didn't ask for too much, as long as it didn't take too much, as long as there wasn't too much, and market grew so fast, so big, that it felt like it put me right in front of a train coming down the tracks.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a good descriptor on that.
Yeah, like you're playing chicken with 2 tractors. What's that show with Kevin Bacon? It's
Oh
Kevin
yeah,
Bacon, wasn't it?
Footloose.
Yeah, yeah,
Footloose.
yeah, I love that show,
Yeah,
that movie. And so the last couple years, which, you've gotten to see a behind the scenes
yeah.
look, and I can't tell you how many times I've asked, "Have I am I out of line? Am I the problem? Is what I'm asking unreasonable? Am I overreacting? I mean, I feel like I ask that a lot.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
I? Maybe I don't.
Yeah, you've done a
Okay.
lot of you've done a lot of self-reflection and reflection where you've asked for outside perspective as somebody who has watched that all transpire, and, I know all the members of your family, and I
Yeah.
know, I see the dynamic of Market in the Mountains, and I am oftentimes the bridge between you 2, the siblings, during Market in the Mountains, because one of the things, if you haven't attended Market in the Mountains, when Jess talks about the fact that, she could kind of fit where the traditional egg it didn't interfere with, Market in the Mountains at the size it is now is in the hayfield, which is where the problem starts to happen, is that it
Mhm.
is the bigger it gets, the more sprawl it needs and the more, you know, hay bales that need to be out of the way before market and parking that needs to happen. And all of those little pieces become a lot more complicated, despite the fact that everybody knows the dates of market almost a year in advance. Somehow it always at the last minute ends up being like a surprise to certain parties.
Yeah, I feel like the first time I was like, "How did this sneak up on him? How did we not realize that it was this week?" Then the second time I was basically like throwing the BS flag. You knew this. And
Mhm.
then the third time it was the question of, is this sabotage? Because I
Yeah.
can't in my brain, when you are a wildly smart individual who has shown proof that you can work hard when you want to, for it to kinda dissolve into what it dissolves into, it feels intentional. It feels intentional, and it feels like, "I don't want to watch you succeed, so I'm gonna do everything I can to make you fail." And that's never a good feeling, not from someone in your family, not from someone on the same property, and not from someone that I would count on for help, because when things are good, they're good. Like, no problem. Ask me, I'll help, smiling, laughing, like, it's really good, and when it's bad, it's bad. It's really bad, and I feel like I have whiplash, and I think I finally described it to my dad as if I feel like I'm standing on a moving board trying to hold and juggle this beast of an event, which is market, and still maintain customer service, and then still put out content, and still do this and still do that, all the while my feet are on one of those balance rolling boards where it's
Mhm.
about to fly out from underneath of me. I don't know that that meant anything to
No,
my
no, it
no, to
100%
my
does.
dad. I mean, like, I don't know
Oh,
that my
yeah,
dad
yeah.
was. So I had yet another go around right before market, and things just get understandings aren't the same. I'm trying to figure out how to word this without the anger coming through, because the anger doesn't help anything. Like, I just get mad and I sit in my mad, and then I want to burn everything to the ground because it hurts and I'm angry and I'm frustrated. But it feels like things get intentionally misunderstood or moved, or stuff that is really truly not a priority. All of a sudden it has to be a priority. And because this isn't my full-time job, I don't think that my family puts as puts as much stock into it as they would if it was my full-time income. I
Yeah.
think there's this sort of like, you'll be fine, so just deal with it, get over it.
Yes, except if you've never been the one who is responsible for the execution of a large scale event, you do not know what that feels like to then have things that are rooting against you in that circumstance. Like, "Oh, it's no big deal, Jess. It's not your full-time thing. You'll be fine." Yeah, except there's so much riding on that event, and it's you, and it's
Mhm.
your reputation, it's your face, it's your brand, it's your everything, and there's so many vendors and everything that are also, you know, coming and putting their business anyways, I can't even imagine the stress load that that would be to not feel like something as major as, the property part of things should be the part that you just feel super secure in, because all the other things are outside of your control. That shouldn't also.
Right, yeah, can't plan for the microburst of wind that takes a tent out. That
Yeah.
wasn't
Yes.
wasn't like we were under a red flag warning for the week.
Yes.
What I could plan for was the number of bales that I needed and when I needed them in place, because, you have to do things in a certain order. You Not everything, but some things have to be done in a very intentional order, just because you can only set up in an order. Like, there's just a way things have to go together to make the pieces work, because there's so many moving pieces. And so I knew that, and I knew when I needed it done, and I knew just tons of stuff. And it's like this power and control, like, because the reins are in his hands, he can yank them as hard as he wants, and I have to just deal with it, because, quite frankly, he doesn't feel stable. And it's easier to tell me to get over it, and it's easier to tell me to just deal with it, or suck it up, or just get through, do whatever you have to do to survive. Um, and I hit the end of my rope at market this year, and I don't know what the straw was that broke the camel's back. I do remember the week before sitting in the bottom of the shower in tears. I mean, just bawling, and still trying to answer questions and DMs that were coming in from ticket holders,
Yeah.
and wondering if I was even going to have the hay bales, and looking at extra costs on things, because I was supposed to have the hay bales and then not have the hay bales, and then had to speak for a semi truckload of straw, and then turned out I didn't need that because, oh, by the way, you could have the hay, and it's like, this none of this was necessary. Like, none of this was necessary, and I just I kind of just threw a gauntlet down. I so we got through market, so I did. I sucked it up. I committed to $6,000 worth of straw that I didn't need. Thank God it the way the deal worked out, I didn't end up having to take it. Just they had extra orders and they were like, "Yeah, no, we're good. Like, don't worry about it."
Yeah.
And
Are you
I
saying you don't remember what the straw that broke the camel's back is?
I feel
That
like there's
made
a
you
lot of straws. I don't know that I
Mhm.
remember like the what I don't remember
The
there being
banner.
one. Mm.
I know, I wasn't even
That
there,
wasn't
and I know.
no, that wasn't even the one I was thinking of. There was like 3 that are bouncing around in my head,
No,
and I will, like, out of respect for my parents, there's certain things I'm just not going to share.
for sure.
But yeah, I ordered these special banners. They're huge because we redid. If you watch on social media, you saw our entryways all summer were like my biggest project because they looked like crap and the gates were hanging on the ground before. And we put in tons of work and time and effort to make the entryways look really cool. And we installed telephone poles that are 18 feet in the air so I could hang these massive banners because people are always mixing up the driveways. And I'm like, that's a me problem. If it keeps happening this many times, it's a me problem. I need to fix it. How can I fix it? Install 18 feet. So they're actually 24-foot tall telephone poles at the tallest because they're over 6 feet in the ground. And let's hang a huge banner over the top that says camping here, general admission here, so that we don't have people going the wrong way on roads. And I paid a lot of money for them. They're not cheap. And I didn't even know until about halfway through Saturday, I think. I hadn't seen it happen, but apparently, as the gates opened for market, he decided it was now the time to leave with a semi truckload of hay, like loaded round bales of hay. And that's obviously very tall, like very, very tall, because it's on a semi truck flatbed, 2 high round bales, and they're big round bales, not little ones. And apparently ripped my banner down. And at that
Mhm.
time, the gates are open. You can't how he even made it out without getting into an accident with someone is wild.
Yeah, if you've never been, the in and the out when you're talking regular cars is logistically something that Jess prepares for, let alone when one is the size of, a
Mhm.
transport truck.
Yeah, we have multiple lanes coming in off the highway. Our goal is to get them off the highway as fast as possible, so our sheriff's posses just I mean, they'll go 3, 4 lanes wide coming in if they need to, and Saturday at 10 a.m. is, like,
Prime.
the busiest time. So that happened. CJ apparently watched it happen, didn't tell me right away because he said you were hanging on by a thread and I was not going to. There was nothing we could do. There was nothing we have to get an extension ladder and multiple people out there and like there just wasn't that many people to pull. So
And vehicles are coming in. So, like, what are you
yeah,
gonna
like
do? Like,
stop
even
block
if
the
like,
entrance.
there's nothing you can do in that, and
Mhm.
if you block the entrance and stop the cars, everybody's on the highway, and then you're blocking through traffic that are not
Mhm.
coming to market. Like, it's a problem if, like, that you there's nothing you
Mhm.
could have done.
No, and it also bothers me because aesthetics are important and it looked like shit. It
Yeah.
did. There was a hanging crappy banner alongside my beautiful entrances, which is people's first impression of the ranch, and I at the time, I don't even know that I had processed it, but I was no no texts came in. And to be frank, I don't even know if he knew that he hit it. Like you're in a semi and it couldn't have been loud. Not like when you run under an
Yeah.
overpass and like you
Yeah.
can't miss that you're stuck under an overpass. I say this because our town's had a lot of those lately. But I so he may not have even noticed. And I guess if he didn't go back in that way, maybe he didn't know. I don't know. I kind of am just at the point, when you reach your limit, you're like, I don't really care what the excuse is. If you hadn't have left at that time with that size of vehicle, it wouldn't have happened. So it doesn't matter whether you know you did or not.
Yeah.
It's the action that occurred that caused it was your choice. You chose that.
That exact moment has been on the schedule, the family
Mhm.
schedule for a year.
Mhm.
And that lack of advanced planning created an issue on your
It
end.
it wasn't I'm just gonna spill the tea a little bit. I was told in August there wouldn't be a single hay bale left on the place by market. That's why I spoke for the straw. And I went to my dad and I said, "Are you kidding me? Like, we perpetually are cleaning up bales left in the field in Christmas at Christmas. Like, I used to take my Christmas break to help get field bales picked up so that they didn't, like, melt into the field and become a big mess." And I told my dad, "Are you kidding me?" And he's like, "Well, nothing we can do. It's his hay." And I'm like, "He said," and, dad just like, "Well, that's his livelihood." Okay, well, what is market? Apparently not my livelihood. So it's not as important is how that felt. And then this happened and I'm like, "Wait a minute. So first off, you tell me there's not gonna be any hay bales left on the place. Then you turn around and you charge me to use the hay bales that were still on the place. And then you decide to leave the morning of with a load of hay bales that apparently was all of a sudden important enough that wasn't even a drop in the bucket." Like, eh, none of it made sense. And um my dad actually at one point, I think it was afterwards, I think it was all the way at the end of market, because I just ignored it. I was so upset and frustrated. I think Gordon and CJ went and, like, cut it down so it wasn't flapping in the wind, like,
Yeah.
just chopped off the string, and I asked if it was ruined because it was spendy, and they didn't know, they didn't take the time to look. There was a million other things to deal with, and then my dad ended up driving around afterwards, and he's like, "Well, it wasn't even damaged. It's not even damaged, like, it's good, it's fine."
I have a really hard time holding because I like,
I love my dad. Like, don't e
oh,
like, yeah, like,
mm,
I mean, I
yeah,
love my parents are wonderful people, you guys. If you don't know them, they will welcome you with open arms, they will feed everybody. I mean, they just, like,
I
they are
love your
truly are,
parents.
yes, they are great people. This is their Achilles heel. I don't, maybe that's
And I have to, I like, I don't even know because I don't know what that feels like to be on the other end either, where you're like trying to balance the personalities of your
Mhm.
children who are both like
Right.
devil's advocate. I don't know what that feels like. And so I
Mhm.
don't know when it's hard for you to get along with your brother, whether there's concern if they say certain things, how that will be for them when there's like everybody's on the same property. Like, it is tough. And my dynamic is that I am on my in-laws' property, and
Mhm.
Jay has a sibling, but Jay's sibling is 4.5 hours from us, so there isn't that same impact because Paul's not here, and so nothing gets run by Paul, nothing is our business is never impacted by Paul. So I don't know personally what that feels like. I know family dynamics on a property, but not in the same way as them maybe trying to avoid conflict because they don't want the conflict for themselves. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's really hard for me because I have no say in that. There was a time when, oh, I can't remember if it was baling or swathing or whatever, was deemed so time sensitive that it would need to occur during a wedding ceremony. And I had to lose my ever loving mind. I was at work, which may seem weird, but the way we do weddings, I'm not down there for the ceremony. I'm there before. So we don't do it like normal. And I had to lose my mind. CJ had to get involved. They quit answering their phones. Nobody, it's not a big deal to anybody but me because I've got a bride who's been planning for 18 months, her perfect day. And I'm hearing that we think we're going to move a swather in the field where she's saying her vows when there's 550 other farmable acres that you could go cut that day. Like,
Yeah.
that to me is a choice. It's a choice. It's a choice to do that and then to not see reason, and then it's a choice for my parents to basically say, "Well, what do you want us to do about it? We can't do anything. It's his livelihood. Like, we can't, we're not going to, nothing we say is going to change anything." And it's like, "What do you think I'm going to do that's going to change this?" Nothing. Nothing. I don't even own the land. I can't do anything. And so that's really really hard, and we got through market, and I oh man, I must be blocking some good memories because I can, oh, I went somewhere with my mom. My uncle was really ill at the time, he's passed, and We hadn't been alone really in any capacity to like have a conversation since probably months before market, because the month leading up to market is a lot. Like, it's wild, and I'm dealing with things that are so important. It's not like we don't have time. Like, we're not sitting around kumbayaing about my feelings. We're just like getting it done and moving on and figuring out contingency plans and plans B's, and I better have a backup plan. I better have a backup plan. And I'm like, why is it on me to have a backup plan? Why do I have to? Like, I'm the one doing what I said I was going to do when I said I was going to do it, that everyone knew I was going to do. Why do I have to have a backup plan? And so we get done afterwards, and that we were in a car for hours, just her and I, and that has not happened in a long time. And I was very proud of myself because I didn't get, crazy heated. The last time we had had a conversation about it was like midsummer, and it had ended with screaming on the front porch of their house with my son on the four-wheeler listening to this, waiting to drive me home. And I felt like that was rock bottom. I didn't want my kids to think that that's how you're supposed to talk to family. I didn't want them to think that that's how you handle conflict, and I don't want them to learn that it's okay to treat your sibling the way that I get treated. And
Yeah.
I am not saying that I have never at fault, that I've never done anything wrong, that I've never overreacted or never blown things out of proportion. Like, I definitely can see my faults in this as well. So I was really proud that I was able to just very calmly say, I don't see how this can continue, and I don't think that there is room for me here, because if I wasn't here, this conflict wouldn't be happening. So to me, in my brain, if I'm the cause of our family being ripped in half, I should leave, because they don't want the conflict. They're not willing to deal with it. And so I'm the one causing it.
You're not, but okay.
Right, but that, I mean, that's how it feels. Like,
Yeah.
whether you logically know that or
Yeah, yeah,
not,
yeah.
when they aren't choosing to protect you and
Yep.
they're excusing the behavior, it's like the only thing I can do to protect myself then is to not be here, because I have no control over changing that. I've
Correct.
asked, I've told you how much it hurts, I've told you what this does to me, I've told you that it makes me want to throw up when I have to deal with this, that it impacts our decisions, our business decisions, our and what's crazy, you guys, is like behind the scenes on this, I'm getting pressure to ramp up and make more money. Like,
Yeah.
do you think we could book more weddings? Do you think you could, how is this doing? Like they're not in my stuff, but like, you know, maybe it's
But
time
they're
to level
also
up. Maybe
very
it's
proud of your successes with it
yep.
and cheerlead behind the scenes and in the front of the
To everyone else, yeah, they do.
yeah.
And they're so proud and happy, um and so they're asking me like, "Do you think you could do more if we made some tweaks here and improvements here? And like, what if we invested in some capital here? What if you built a wedding, like an actual facility?" And I had talked about it with CJ, and we were just like, "We are not putting another cent into things that we have no control over. We are not investing our time in things that impact our family so harshly when they are bad." And so I just told him that. I said, "I can't keep doing this. I cannot continue to repeat insanity and do the same thing over and over again and just hope someday that it works."
Mhm.
Because in the meantime, I mean, my stomach's a mess. My I cannot even begin to tell you probably what my is it adrenals for stress?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, 100%, because 'cause you're in fight and flight so much
All the
even with
time.
just doing the event, let alone with all the extra stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, so I was really proud of the way I approached that conversation. That took some serious personal growth to be able to say, this isn't going to go anywhere if I let my emotions get the best of me. I need to approach this very practically, of this is a business decision, that our business cannot survive on the trajectory that it is. Not that it's not profitable, not that there's not demand, not that there's not a need for it in our community, and not that there's not a passion for it on my side, but I cannot continue to run my business in this situation, period. And I told them that I would shut down everything and walk away. I think I've said that a couple of times before, kind of offhanded, probably in the depths of anger and shouting and stuff, right? So I'm like, yeah, sure, do it, then leave, right? That's The petulant.
But you had never said it so seriously to me as you did this time.
Very matter of factly, I think is a good way to put it. Like, it
Yeah.
was very matter of fact that A and B and C have continued to occur multiple times, making it a pattern. I need to recognize the pattern, and if the only thing I can control is whether I'm here or I'm not here, I will choose to not be here. And at that point, we had started looking for other opportunities off the ranch, kind of anything. I think I was just sort of looking for something that in some way wasn't sabotageable by people in my own family, that gave me some distance of safety and stability and protection and something I could be proud of. I'm not proud of the family situation that we have, and I think that probably is true for a lot of people. Like,
Mhm.
there is shame attached to the fact that that's our situation and that is who I'm related to, and that makes me a horrible person. That makes me a horrible person, but I I struggle with that. I'm not proud of it. And so we had been looking, and I just told them I will shut down everything on the ranch. I will not do another market, and I will figure out something else. Like, I'm not saying I'm taking your grandkids away from you. We're not going like full millennial,
Yeah.
cut off whatever like trending thing there is
Yeah.
for. And and then, I asked some hard questions like, is that what you want? Is that what you see? What do you see happening when you do pass? Like, what is your intention with, which we've always had succession conversations in our family, but I don't think ever with this like seriousness of, does the behavior that you're witnessing tell you that you truly think he understands that I'm going to be here and be 50% of this when you're not here? And when I finally got around a couple weeks later, whenever talking to my dad a bit more, I asked him that and he said, "Well, I'm going to be dead, so I don't really care." And I just looked him in the eye and I said, "Don't you dare do that to me. Don't you dare leave your mess to me to clean up and
Yes.
to deal with. And don't do that to your grandkids."
Yes. I agree.
I was so mad when he said that. I was so mad. Like, it's such the easy way out, right? It to It's not my problem, I'll be dead. Like, you worked this hard your entire life to hang on to this property, and that's the direction we're gonna take. Okay, cool. And he's a lot like me. We get hot, we blow, we
Yeah.
say things we don't need, we gotta simmer down. It takes him a lot of time to process. He's a very quiet processor. He needs a lot of time and space to really think through, and he wants to know everything before he opens his mouth, and it infuriates me because I'm like, just give me an answer. Just give me an answer. Just tell me to leave. Just tell me to leave. In all seriousness, like, just tell me you don't want me here and I'll go. And so I'd hear nothing for like a week or two. I'd just be expected to go about my daily life and continue on. And then I'd get a message. "Hey, when's Market in the Mountains? I want to make sure the dates are on my calendar." I'd get an email. "Hey, I want to be a vendor at Market. Do you?" And I started screenshotting every one that I was getting and sending it to my parents and saying, "I'm not answering this." So sorry if any of you that listened that I didn't answer you, but I started saying, "I don't know how to answer.
Just
I can't
know it
answer this."
wasn't about you,
No, it
as
was
you
not
now
about
are
you.
learning.
And maybe they thought I was petty. I felt a little petty. I mean, I was okay with feeling a little petty, but I did feel a little petty about that. And I said, "I'm not answering these. I don't know what you want me to say." And my dad was like, "Well, just set the dates. Like, we'll figure it out." And I was like, "Oh, no.
We are not doing
No."
that again.
I was like, "The last thing I'm going to do is have to go on my social media." Because I'm thinking, like, worst case scenario, right? I shut everything down.
Yeah.
I can just delete the website. I can delete the Instagram. I
Yeah.
can go about my daily life without, like, the people I care about know how to get a hold of me, whether I'm on Instagram or not on
Yeah.
Instagram, and I'll be fine. The last thing I'm going to do, though, is announce dates and then get on and be like, "Oh, we couldn't figure it out. So actually, I'm canceling it. So sorry."
Yeah, and you would never go to the committing to vendors and then not have it go through. So like
Mhm.
once you've committed to vendors, like you are going to, no matter the circumstance, make sure that the event is a
Mhm.
success for all involved.
Well, and
That's just
I think I knew
you.
that. I think I knew that, and
Uh-huh.
so in my brain, it was like, you cannot I wouldn't even hardly post about market
Yeah.
afterwards, which is normally that's my content for, like, the next I got really quiet. I got really quiet. I wouldn't share things from market. I wouldn't reshare because every time I would share, even when I put up, like, I really wanted to say thank you and just kind of give like a wrap up. And even when I did that, there was comment after comment after comment of when's the next one, or I missed it, or I'm
Uh-huh.
so excited to come back. And every one of those felt like a death by a thousand cuts because it was just a reminder of like, I don't know that this is happening again.
Which
And
is part also of the reason. I know we talked in episode 1 or 2 with me that my reason for not hopping back into the podcast when we initially said we were going to in October is that we were in the middle of the biggest launch in our business, the biggest execution in our business's history. And yours was, how do you get on and recap market without having a resolution to this? And
mhm,
I'm thankful that you do have a resolution to this. And as you talked about in last episode, there are dates set,
mhm, there are
which
dates.
means you have gotten somewhere with this.
It took 2.5 months after market, the middle of November, the first part of December, and I had to buy a very expensive, very big tractor with no assurance that I even needed said tractor, and that was the tipping point. I think maybe that I still hadn't said anything online, I still wouldn't, and I tried to explain the backdating of things like, "Hey, guys, I'm already behind." Like, the fact that it's November and I haven't touched my client management software to re-up my contract, just like, normally I would be behind the scenes working on that already in November so that in December I'm doing my marketing lead up to it. In January I'm opening applications and in February they're getting an answer. And I tried to like but explain that to a 70-year-old man who doesn't under like it's just
He
not his
doesn't realize
wheelhouse.
Dubsado is as complicated as Dubsado is.
Doesn't even know what Dubsado is. Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? Like he doesn't even think I can sign a contract on my phone. And so I was trying to tell him that, like, you need to get this needs to be resolved. This needs to be resolved. This needs to be resolved. Finally, we ripped the band-aid off one weekend. When I say rip the band-aid off, I mean rip the band-aid off like World War III. And I just said, let the chips fall. Let the chips fall. Like the holidays had been ruined. My uncle getting sicker by the day was adding stress. And it just my dad, was slated for surgery. He's since had surgery. He's good. He's recovering. He's non-mobile. He's kinda lonely, so if anybody wants to
Go
hang out
see
with Lester,
Lester.
he's accepting applications. He is.
For new BFFs to hang at the
Yeah,
ranch.
only for a couple more weeks, but he, it just, like, it was nasty for that week, and, I walked off the weekend the proud owner of a John Deere 4440 and the first time I'd ever had a signed lease to farm.
You are now in the haying game, and
I'm a
you are
farmer.
now the proud leaseholder of the land to which Market in the Mountains operates. So you are no longer at the mercy of
Mhm.
anybody else's decisions around what they farm and where they farm it. Your weddings, your geodome, and Market in
Everything.
the Mountain site is now completely under your control. And I am so excited
Well,
for you.
I under dad and I's control.
Oh,
Like, I'll
I
give
when I say your
he's
control, I
still
mean
yes.
not
Yes.
not your siblings'
Yeah.
control.
Yeah. No, and you know, there's still enough empathy and hope that someday there might be a relationship. I truly don't think there will be, but, that I can empathize with his situation. I can empathize with how I'm sure that felt, and I can't imagine it felt good. Um, and my heart breaks a little bit that it had to get to that point.
I mean, disclaimer, there he is still managing a ton of acres.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
you
I
didn't
took,
get
like
the ranch.
I
You
say I
got
took.
what?
I said I took, but it's not like I didn't,
No,
like
you
I
just
didn't, like,
got
take it.
you got the lease for the area that you are in instead of that being hayed by your
Mhm,
brother. It is now hayed by you in that area,
mhm,
and he can maintain the rest of the
mhm,
hay and grazing lands that he has used in the past, minus the area that you're now on.
mhm. Yeah, so we are gonna figure out how to farm and still not planning on quitting our day jobs. So you can expect to probably see content at 2 in the morning from the swathering you can do at night, not bailing, right? Bailing's at a specific time. Like, well, you
Jay
guys,
is
when I
so Jay is so invested in this journey for Jess, you guys. I'm surprised he's not on this episode. Actually, I can tell you why he's not on this episode, and it's because he wants to be on the next episode
he
because there
does.
is more. You I didn't know which episode we were the order in which we were doing the episodes. This is clearly the order that makes sense, but I was
Mhm,
unsure if this was going to be the episode where you guys find out the ginormous
mhm.
news that has been going on behind the scenes.
I don't
That
I feel
my
like it's like at the same level. I don't know that I would say it was bigger news than us farming.
It is the craziest news, and
It is.
Jay no,
It is. No, you're right, it is.
I can tell you that my husband is incredibly invested in what is coming in episode
To be
5.
fair, he was very invested in the tractor picture I sent because
Oh,
of
he
course
was too.
I didn't have a lease when I bought the tractor, so I couldn't share the tractor online, and, it was such a huge moment for me because I've never owned a tractor, and that it was the biggest single check I've ever written out of my business account at one time. Like, that was a big check, and
And Jay has been, like, on the edge of his seat. Because also keep in mind, like, as Jess's friend, she was under a lot of stress. She didn't have answers for everything. A lot of things were up in the air with, everything that was
Mhm.
going on. So there's only so much, like, pestering, "Do you have an answer?" Like, she's
Right, do
stressed
you
that she
know?
doesn't have an answer. So last thing I wanna do, but my husband was, like, on me, and I felt like one of those jokes where it's like, the husband comes home and he says that, like, the 2 friends split, and then that he has no information about the fact that, like,
Why?
he wanted the details, and I had no details on any of the things. It was like I was just giving him crumbs.
You gave him a gold cow skull picture and
Oh,
then a picture of a John Deere 4440,
totally, and
which is
then
massive.
a little nugget
Mhm.
of information about what's coming in the next episode, and he was, like, trying to research. My husband does not typically, like, he's not a computer guy. He's, like, on there looking things up, trying to get information on this situation.
Yeah, it's been crazy. So that all came down in December, and then I think I had some trauma to work for because even when I knew it was the go ahead and I was like, "Whew, lease signed, tractor purchased, like check, check, check. We're moving through all the things we need to move forward to the next year. Yeah, I'm a little behind, but I can make it up." I like to not sleep, so I'm sure I can dig myself out of this. And it was coming so rapid fire that I still didn't put anything online, and it delayed things, but then it got delayed even further because the situation changed yet again right before Christmas. So, I it just really compounded, and I think for me, I'm still kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop with the family situation. I don't feel like that's fully resolved. I also don't know that it's fairly resolved, if that makes sense. So, I'm interested to see how this plays out, and I as of right now, I mean, it's relationships are gone, and, um, it'll be a real
Not all the
interesting first
relationships
season.
are gone, just so that it's
Oh,
just
yeah,
that one
no, I mean,
relationship. Well,
sorry.
I just don't want people to think that it's
Oh,
different than
yeah.
it is. That just sounded like all the family relationships were gone.
Oh, no. No, no, parents are still here, that's still fun. That's I love them, but, like, sometimes it's really you guys, sometimes it's really, really hard, and then you feel bad for saying it's hard because they are phenomenal parents, right?
Mhm.
Like, they're great parents, and they love their grandkids, and they love their son-in-law. That is I joke that he's their favorite child because he doesn't come with any
Right?
of the stress. Yeah.
Right? That's how I feel about Jay with my
Yep.
parents, and my parents work for my company, and, like, my in-laws are also on the same like, all the
Mhm.
things, and I'm like, Jay just gets to skate in and just
Mhm. Oh, they would
exist.
do anything for him. They
Oh,
love
my
him
mom's,
so
like,
much.
making him a meatloaf. She made him a meatloaf last night and brought it in for him for lunch.
No, they do. They love that. So I guess we'll see in this summer how hay season goes. I plan on sharing quite a bit of it. I joined the farm bureau, local farm bureau. I'm now an officer. I'm like, guys, as of 10 seconds ago, I was a farmer with no farm. I was a ranch with no cattle. I like in no way, shape, or form should you have elected me into an office. And they're like, no, you're great at leadership and paperwork and content and
You ADD'd your way into farming, just so you know.
I
You were like you side quested into
so hard.
haying in the hardest way. That's why Jay has been, like, deeply impressed with this side quest where he's like, "What do you mean she's just decided to hay just so she can throw market in the mountains?" That's how much she
Uh,
cares about you guys, and the vendors and the shoppers and the everything is she is haying to make sure that that event goes off
and
perfectly.
I'll admit this, right? I'm gonna admit this. I bought a tractor I didn't even know how to start.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to turn it.
Uh-huh.
I'm sitting in the cab because my dad could not get up in the cab because of his surgery. This old man that I bought it from is like, "Do you wanna take it around the field?" And I said, Sir, I would love to, but I don't know how to
I don't
turn
even
it
know
on."
how.
And he's like his jaw just dropped, and he's like, "What? You're buying it, though?" And I go, "Yeah, I know. I was gonna YouTube it on the way home because we had to transport
Good.
truck it in, not
Yeah.
we couldn't it wasn't close enough to just drive down the road." This old man gave me the nicest lesson on how to turn it on and how to drive it, and he was trying to tell me all these little things, and then I realized, like, I probably ought to know, like, what moisture content is, and I've been around it for a long time, so I'm not, like, completely stupid about the process, but I don't know what the proper moisture content is. I don't know how to set
You're
the
gonna be fine.
tensioner on the string. Well, I joined a Facebook group,
I was
and
gonna say you're gonna be fine.
I was on it. Well, plus I got my Farm Bureau peeps now, right? Like, I've got a hotline to the farmers.
Also, you are gonna have, like I keep talking to Jay about the burrito behind your ear, and probably nobody's gonna get that reference unless you are a movie person who anyways, there's a movie reference with, like, burrito behind your ear. You are gonna be extremely motivated to have very, very good hay because of the
Mhm.
family scenario. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
extra you take a little ADD spiciness and you add that in with a little, like, family motivation to have
Mhm.
fantastic hay. You guys get your hay orders in because it's gonna be the best hay in
No, no,
Springdale.
do not open that. There's actually really good hay outside. I no pressure. I can for what it's worth it to me, which is maybe interesting if someone's actually in farming. For what it's worth it to me, I could hay all of the ground, use the hay at market, and light it on fire when I'm
Yeah,
done,
yeah,
and still be energy and I'm gonna say probably money ahead from what it has cost me previously to try to
yeah.
juggle all this stuff. I We have real low hopes.
And I and I won't have to get into a tractor with your bro to get hi to try to sweet talk him into moving the hay
Lord
for
knows
me.
it wouldn't work if I tried it, so
No.
somebody had to. No, I appreciate you so much for, like, the
I'd
help
skip
and
over to that tractor for your brother now.
no, now my tractor is big enough to move it all and do all the things and pull all the implements. And so this is going to be fun and it's going to suck at the same time and it's going to be such a learning curve, but I'm really excited. So coming 2026, your girl's a hay farmer.
And I say this lovingly because I'm sure you all already follow her. But if for some reason you are living under a rock and you are not following Moose Valley Ranch on Instagram, it is at Moose Valley Ranch. Trust me when I tell you, when you combine this episode with next episode, there is some good stuff coming for this year.